When most people think about building a home, they picture paint colors, kitchen cabinets, and floor plans.
But after building homes for a long period of time, people remember more than just the countertops.
It's how they are treated, whether they felt heard, whether someone returned their phone call, whether they knew someone was looking out for them.
Because long before building homes, we were building trust.
Welcome to Nail by Nail, Building More Than Homes. Hi, I'm Greg Loos. I'm wife, mom, and proud co-owner of Loos Homes. Each week, we're pulling back the curtain on what really goes into building a home. Not just the construction side, but the people, the stories, and the values that guide everything we do. Joining me as always is my husband Greg, founder of Loos Homes.
It's great to be here again talking to you.
All right, so let's start talking about trust is bigger than building a house. So Greg, one thing I've realized over the years is that when someone chooses to build with us, they're trusting us with so much more than lumber and concrete. They're trusting us with where they're going to celebrate Christmas, where they'll bring their babies home, where birthdays will be celebrated, where life is going to happen. And that's a pretty incredible responsibility.
Yeah, I have always thought of it and explained it to people as pretty much one of the necessities in life is shelter. So, as you know, I like to watch like survival shows and camping shows and stuff like that. You have to trust the shelter that you're putting your family in, and it happens to be the biggest financial investment at one time that you make for your family. So you have to trust it.
Right. These people that are coming to you are looking for someone they can trust to walk beside them, not just to build the house, but to guide them through the process. So let's talk about trust is built through communication. I think one of the biggest ways trust grows is through communication. And honestly, not just when everything goes smoothly.
Yeah. Things don't always go smooth when building a house or when buying a new house. Obviously, we want everything to be smooth, but having a team of people that realize communication and happy customers is the number one goal of the company. You tend to over-communicate things. We've learned over the years that communication is huge because people just want to know what's going on.
And don't you think, I would think people appreciate honesty more than perfection. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
I've heard homeowners say, I just wanted to know what's going on. And silence creates anxiety, but communication creates confidence. So let's talk about the little things build trust. So sometimes I think people imagine trust is built in one big moment, but that's really not how it works.
What I found builds the most trust with people is being really transparent with pricing and really transparent about not just the house building process, but teaching people, showing people things of how homes are built, how we build homes into the details ultimately earns their trust, because oftentimes people aren't told certain things about actually how the homes are built. They're just showed a finished home and it's like take it or leave it. Whereas we like to educate. We found that over the years, I found that educating people on how the home is built ultimately earns their trust at the same time.
And part of that is returning phone calls, following up when you said you would, answered questions, and doing what you promised. Don't you think those are all little parts of the process where those kind of things build trust?
Yeah, the personability factor, I've always wanted to keep the company at a size so that it's not a big corporation, because oftentimes people can feel like a number as opposed to feel like a customer. If a company's too big and there's too many homes being built or sold at one point in time, you kind of lose that individual relationship. Mm-hmm. And the relationship is typically built on trust.
So let's talk about trust is tested when things go wrong. So can I ask you something, honey? When do you think trust is tested the most?
Trust is probably tested the most when you have to be upfront about something, that whether something is behind schedule or If there was some unforeseen challenge that happens during the process of building a home, and then it's just openly communicating that to the customer so they know what's going on and know that this is how the problem is handled, so they don't need to worry about it.
So basically when something doesn't go according to plan, that's what you're kind of saying. Like,
yeah, if things don't go according to plan, letting the customer or the buyer know whatever the reason is. It's just being open and communicative with the customer goes a long way, as opposed to making up some BS excuse of something that isn't really true.
So I think most homeowners, know that nothing in life is perfect. Like, you can aim for perfection. You can aim for that, but you're always going to fall a little bit under it. So here's the thing. I think what homeowners understand that no build is perfect, but what they really want to know is, will Loos Homes answer the phone? Will Loos Homes tell me the truth? Will Loos Homes help solve the problem? Isn't that where all that anxiety rises up? Is you want to trust your builder and know that he's got me.
Yeah, you want to know that the company you're buying from has your back. Absolutely.
And that you'll walk through the challenge. You can't promise there won't be any challenges, but you can promise that no matter what comes up during this build, we're there with you.
Yeah, everybody at Loos Homes would be the first to say that none of us are perfect and there's never a perfect home. However, from years of experience, we have problem-solving methods to deal with imperfections, and whether it would be just minor little details. So that's why we have warranty service to handle certain imperfections should they come up, and there's typically always little things that need to be tended to, or that's why we have a warranty program on our houses.
So let's talk about people matter more than projects. One thing I hope people always feel when they work with Loos Homes is that they're never just another job on a spreadsheet. They're a family, a family,
Well, ultimately, a popular phrase that I've used in business that everybody at Loos Homes knows is, a business without customers is dead. So it doesn't matter what kind of a business you have. In our case, it's building homes for people. Mm-hmm. The customer has to be the number one priority and more important than whatever the widget is that you're selling or making. Whether it would be a coffee shop or a pizza shop, ultimately, if you don't have customers, the business is not going to exist. So you have to have happy customers. Part of building happy customers is that they trust the company that they're working with.
And you're building the home, but these people that are coming to it, they'll see the home, they see the walls, but what they're really thinking about is the Christmases they're going to have there, the kids' graduations they're going to have there, the family get-togethers, the grandkids even visiting someday, right?
Yeah.
They remember that, and I think
I enjoy having a home building company at the size we are, because we have a large enough team to have professional service for our customers during the process and after the process. However, we're not so big that the homes are just numbers, and they don't have, the customers can't just be a number. The customers actually have a name, and it's this is their house that they're buying. This is the customer's name. So if it's Smith's, it's Smith's Home. And Smiths are going to be all excited for making future family plans, holidays, and all that kind of stuff in their home. Mm-hmm. And I think if a company gets, especially in home building, and I've seen it, if you end up building so many homes in a year, just from the sheer business perspective, things oftentimes become numbers instead of folks' homes.
So let's talk about integrity happens when no one is watching. So integrity is one of those words people throw around a lot. But what does it actually mean in construction? So what does the word integrity mean to you?
Integrity means doing the right thing. When I started building, more often than not, when I was out there swinging a hammer, and whether I was framing a home or putting siding on a home or putting interior trim in a home, it's ultimately there's a right way to do things and kind of, if I could say, half-assed way to do things. And part of that, I think, is kind of how you're brought up. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I was kind of brought up with the mindset of do it right one time instead of do it, a couple times and then get it right. And of course, when I was younger and in the learning process and that kind of things, then there was more, you make mistakes and you end up doing it over. Integrity means building it right. And with homes, that's actually kind of interesting because something I'm excited to get into and start showing is like actual like non-scripted videos on job sites and showing people like down in the trenches things that they don't see how a home is built, because most new home builders show a fully furnished home. But that's going to be talking a lot and showing a lot of how things are done when no one's watching, meaning parts of the home are either sided over or covered up from the inside. Yeah. So like the guts of the home, if you will. I'm excited to show that in an upcoming video series.
Guts of your homes.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, character is something people experience. Like, you don't advertise it. It's something people have to experience.
Yeah, experiencing character ties into also being not so large that people they get that experience. They can experience the character of the people in the company who are building the homes, because if a company that's building the homes is so big, it's hard for them to get that.
Let's talk about trust doesn't end at closing. So I think another misconception is that once people get their keys, the relationship is over. It's like, see ya. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, and most builders, actually something that I found is pretty interesting, and this is not to rip on other building companies, but there's typically a final walkthrough before a house is closed. Yeah. So whether it's a custom, a pre-sold home or a market-ready home, there's always a final walkthrough to make sure that there's a bunch of educational things we go through with the homeowners in the basement, all the mechanicals, where they're located, certain things that they need to check a couple, like once a year, etc. But they also get a face-to-face meeting with, typically our customer service person is at that walkthrough, so there's a face to the name of their point of contact should there be some items that they have questions on or they're not totally satisfied for the first year after they're in the new home. So it's a personable thing. But what I was getting at is I've learned in the last year that some building companies, and my guess would be those would be building companies that are building a higher volume of homes. Yeah. They actually don't even have a face-to-face walkthrough with the customer. The customer kind of walks through the home on their own and uses a tablet. And I thought that was, for me, that's impersonable, and I never want to get that big that there's not a living, breathing person from my company walking through,
representing you,
walking through their final walkthrough. I thought that, that might be more convenient for everybody from a timing perspective, but that just doesn't sit right with me. So
it's personal, So what do you want homeowners to know? I would think we're still here. Like, even though you might be moved into your home and you have your keys, like, you're still here, right?
A closing is not a closing of the relationship with the building company. It's just a transactional closing of transfer of ownership is what a closing is.
So would you agree with the statement? People shouldn't feel important only until the paperwork is signed.
Say that one more time.
That people shouldn't feel important only until the paperwork is signed.
Well, yeah, that would be really crappy if people felt important up until the closing and the paperwork is signed.
Like, see ya.
And then, so I would totally disagree. People should feel important after the paperwork is signed as much as they feel important before the paperwork is signed.
Right. As we wrap up today, I keep coming back to this one thought. Homes matter because people matter. Would you agree with that?
Yes. And that's exactly why our company slogan is built with your family in mind.
So families have a lot of choices when deciding who to build with. And every time someone chooses Loos Homes, they're placing an incredible amount of trust in the company.
I like to earn people's trust before. I never feel like I'm being salesy to people.
Yeah.
And I have worked with, I know the team of people we have on our, we'll call it sales end of the company, is really like their new home specialists. And they understand my philosophies of selling isn't, you don't have to sell when you earn people's trust and simply educate them on why we know we're building the best home in the marketplace for the dollar. And it's based on a relationship, and that after you close, we've been here for nearly 30 years and plan on being here for another 30, and we care. Right. And it's not just job numbers, and it's people's homes. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say we never want to become ordinary. Like, we want to stand out in the fact that
I want to push to be the best in the industry.
Right.
Even though we're not perfect.
Right. So it's something Loos Homes works to earn every day, not because we're trying to be the biggest builder, but because we want to be the kind of builder we'd want building our own home. So thank you so much for spending a little time with us today. If this episode encouraged you or helped you better understand what matters most in the home building journey, we'd love for you to share it with someone who's thinking about building. And remember, the best things in life are built nail by nail.